Good evening, everyone. In a few minutes, Jack will baptize little Gabriel Car. His big brother, Sebastian, was baptized in this church on Easter 2015. Today, therefore, is a happy day, a family celebration, and we all participate in that basic joy. A child has been successfully delivered. And believe me, as a pediatrician, every time a child is born, and I've seen a lot of children being born, every time it's for us also a joy. So he is healthy, and his family loves him. He is joining the Christian church. His status as a person made in God's image and loved deeply by God is being recognized and celebrated. All that is wonderful. But as a pediatrician, I would like to speak this evening also on another angle of life. What do we think and what do we do as Christians when life becomes less wonderful? This is not to diminish the joy of the Car family. It is to explore what is left of our faith when events test it to the breakage point. Tonight we will continue our sermon series, We Were Witnesses, with a more known figure, Mary, the mother of Jesus. And given the fact that a lot is said and written about her in history, I decided to present this sermon in a somehow different view. As most of us know, I work as a doctor in a hospital, as Jack mentioned, in Genk. And this year I'm doing also rotations on the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit. More than before, I got confronted also with the death of children. And tonight I would like to take a look at Sam, a baby born at 26 weeks of pregnancy. The idea of this sermon came to me in the talks with the parents, especially in the talks with the mother. The couple got pregnant after a long, intensive course of fertility treatments, and the mother told me that one of her friends compared her to Mary, mother of Jesus, because the impossible had happened. She got pregnant. The joy of both mothers, Mary and the mother of Sam, could have been equal. The expectancy of a child that would come. Well, at 26 weeks of pregnancy, things took a turn for the worse, and instead of the normal birth around 40 weeks of pregnancy, Sam was born prematurely and unexpected at the term of 26 weeks, seemingly lifeless. After a reanimation, Sam was rushed into the NICU where she got intubated and she needed respiratory and circulatory support. And in the first few hours after a talk, we had a talk with the parents that we had to say that we were concerned about the outcome for the near future or for the longer future, and that the coming days would be crucial for the life expectancy of their daughter. The combination of what the mother said about herself being compared to Mary couldn't stop me thinking of Mother Mary, who also got words just after birth of Simeon that said that a sword would pierce her soul when she would be watching her son. I know that these two mothers are completely different and completely different situations, but when we are speaking about being witnesses of passion, I cannot stop myself from thinking how Jesus takes part in human suffering throughout his life. And with that, we are all witnesses of passion and of suffering. And most certainly the parents of children that are going through the most difficult periods with their children. Nadat de eerste dagen gepasseerd zijn, zien we dat Sam niet goed vooruit gaat. Ze heeft meer en meer ondersteuning nodig. We hebben ongelooflijk veel respect. En we hebben ook met ongelooflijk veel respect gekeken naar de ouders, hoe ze deelnamen aan de dagelijkse routines. Zoals het verwisselen van de pamper, het meten van de temperatuur. En ze genieten ervan om bij hun dochters te zijn. Om ouders te zijn, ondanks de slechte conditie. Ik weet niet of Maria vanaf het begin gezien heeft hoe het leven van haar zoon zou verlopen. Hoe het zou eindigen. Maar keer op keer zien we haar betrokkenheid bij de opvoeding. Hoe ze hem ondersteunt, hem corrigeert en hem probeert te sturen. Ook zij neemt haar ouderschap op, ondanks alles. Op de momenten dat we geroepen worden om getuige te zijn van lijden, of om naast hen te staan die getuigen zijn van lijden, mogen we niet vergeten dat de dagelijkse routines van het leven net zo belangrijk zijn als het praten, het huilen, de pastorale zorg die we kunnen verlenen. Zorg dragen voor onze naasten, onze kinderen, is een basale levensbehoefte. En de ouders van Sam hebben tot op vandaag uitgedrukt hoeveel het verzorgen van hun kind en de aanwezigheid bij hun kind voor hun betekend heeft. Hoeveel vreugde en liefde ze daarin hebben ervaren. At a certain day we made an ultrasound of the head of Sam and it showed a large bleeding. More medication was needed to be given. Brain activity was monitored and more tubes, cables and lines were used to keep Sam alive. To keep her comfortable, we needed to give her sedation. And I remember the talk that we had with the parents. The already small chances of survival grew more and more dim. The small signs of life, those of sucking on a pacifier, crying, grabbing a finger of one of the parents, were gone too. It felt like first goodbye. And at the same moment, we had the birth of a new baby that was brought into the world. The happiness of the parents, the new parents of the baby that was born, in contrast with the mourning already of the parents of Sam, was of a big contrast, and it was coloring the atmosphere. It reminded me of the reading that we heard today, the history of a young man in Nain. Two groups of people meet at the same place, one with joy and one mourning over the loss of a son. And not only in Nain we meet this contrast, but in the world the two processions of life and death constantly meet and give this unfitting clash of feelings and emotions. In the middle of the Lent, we are celebrating a baptism. And with that, we can exclaim that Lent is not the end, and that we can continue with the joyous procession. When an infection was found in Sam, we saw it going worse and worse. We started treating it, but held our breath. If I looked at her, I could only pray one thing. Father, in your hands I command Sam's spirit. And soon after we moved Sam to a place alone, to be in private with the parents. A few hours later, it was, as I believe, Sam herself that decided it had been enough. We disconnected all the support and she was put in the lap of the mum and dad, where she died. In these moments, no words were said, no words would help. I cannot describe how Mary must have felt, but I believe that the darkness described in the gospel reading of today, when Jesus suffers, is not only a physical darkness, but a deep expression of emotional desolateness that comes over everyone that was there and loved Jesus, left alone by everyone who loved him. Today we know that the Passion didn't have the last word. That glorious day that Jesus rose gives also light and love today to those mothers and fathers who see their children suffer, however difficult to see. In that belief, we have a baptism. In that belief, Sam's parents had their child baptized the day before she died. And Sam was not only called the child of their parents, but God himself said, "My daughter, you are mine." I sincerely hope that we never have to lose our children, our loved ones. But in case we have to, I pray that we can see what one of the older church documents in the Dutch church say. He, Jesus, was left alone by everyone, yes, even by God, so that we should never have to be left by him again. I wish that Mary could see that. I pray that Sam's mother and father can see this. I pray that we all can see this, never to be left again. Amen.